Good morning. I'm Anne, a Unity in Lynnwood prayer chaplain. Whether you are virtual or in the sanctuary, welcome. I'm so happy to be with you. Let's begin to settle in by gently closing our eyes if that's comfortable. We turn our mind towards our breathing and our heart. We allow our busy thoughts to drift away like clouds in the wind. We breathe in and out with ease. We know our own individual pace that feels good, and we lean into that. We breathe in with a sense of connection with our community. We are one with the Eternal One. As we head into the silence, please take this affirmation if it speaks to you. The power of grace that dwells within guides and soothes my way. I am whole and holy. as we come out of the silence, we softly open our eyes and stretch into this now moment. We are awake, renewed, and fully present. We are grateful for Dr. Richard, Matthew, Nina, and the members of our board for keeping us safe, healthy, and thriving. And so it is.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. It's one power, invisible, yet we see it everywhere in everything. One power, indescribable, yet we speak of it in every word we say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe now. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's one power, one power, one power.
Good morning. Let's take the truth of the words of this song into prayer this morning. I invite you to go ahead and close your eyes and settle back into your chairs. Let's take this time to settle into the truth of who we are. Allow the knowing to rise within yourself that you are that one power. You are of that one power. You are an expression of that one power. And you are presence. You are of presence. You are an expression of presence. You are love. You are of love. You are an expression of love. The wisdom that is part and parcel of the one life, the one power, the one presence is part and parcel of you. This is the truth of you. This is who you are. You are not your fears. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past memories. You are not your body. You are not the construct that you have created. You are an expression of the most divine. You're an expression of that unified field of consciousness. That is what you are. And the person sitting to the left and right of you, that is what they are as well. And the person sitting in front of you and behind you, that is what they are as well. And that is what the members of your family are. And those who live on the block of your neighborhood or in your apartment building. Those who live in your communities. Those who comprise the people of this beautiful earth. We are all one. We are all of the one. We are all expressions of the one. On this morning, let us remember our unity. Let this knowing open our hearts. And as we open our hearts, let us know, let us feel, let us experience how safe it truly is to have our hearts open. Because when they are open, we become fuller expressions of that spiritual energy, of that divine love, of that presence flowing through and as us. It flows easily and fully and powerfully through an open heart. Let us carry this into our day, into our time together, and let it fill this eternal now moment. And so it is.
It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunlight on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of the baby, the serenity of sleep. Anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, it's one power. It's the power of the love that lives in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's one power, one power, one power. Ran away from the sun, ran away from the rain, hid away from everyone, ran away from the pain. Now I'm so out of breath, now I'm so scared to death. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground. No more running round. Here I am. Here I am. You all look a little bit dazed. What's a life covered up? Day and night not to fail. Like a life without love is its own kind of jail. What a waste to regret what I haven't tried yet. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground with my heart unbound. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Throwing the game just to make sure that I never win. Kept counting myself out again and again. So nervous, running in circles till nobody knew where I'd been. Maybe today is the day that I let it all in. Maybe my secret hurts, no I will stand my ground. I will sing out loud. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground. No more running round. Here I am. Here I am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity in Lynnwood. Look at you. Look at you. Look around. Look around, please. Find an eyeball and say, welcome to Unity in Lynnwood, please. If you feel so inclined, find an eyeball and say, oh man, it is good to see you. It is good to see you. And from me, it is good to see you. You're welcome. I mean it. I mean it. I mean it. As I've said so many times before, it is the privilege of a human incarnation to bask in the nobility of the soul that has taken form as you. So for the profound gift of Eunice, I begin simply by saying thank you. Thank you for sharing the profound gift of Eunice with me. Practical spirituality, welcoming community, that in word, but so very deep in its implication. Every week I like to support this mission statement with one of the 6 statements we developed in conversation with your leaders in late 2014. Today I offer the 6th of 6. And it reads as follows. We welcome people from all spiritual traditions or from no spiritual tradition whatsoever into every activity of our community. Does that mean me? I can hear the voice read, yes, it means you. It means you. It means you. If you would like to pray with someone following the conclusion of our time together, Unity in Lynnwood offers trained prayer chaplains eager to support you. They will now identify themselves for your convenience simply by raising their hands. Or by standing. Please seek out one of these noble individuals so eager to support you. If you are a member of our online community this morning and you desire to pray with one of these noble souls, start the process by writing prayer at unityinlynnwood.org. Do include a working telephone number and expect a call from an anonymous caller shortly after noon. Please, if you are a member of that virtual community, open your social media chat box window. Tell us where you're from. Allow our social media hosts and other members of our noble audience to greet you. If you have not yet liked Unity in Lynnwood on various social media platforms, choose Facebook for today. Search Unity in Lynnwood. Press the like button. While you are there, you will notice that we have offered a new vehicle for community to community connection. What does that mean? It's called Unity in Lynnwood Community Discussion Group. And it is for you. And even in the first week, oh, it's been fun. I have met your pets. I have seen your omelets. Please avail yourself to the deepened relationships of this offering. Words of invocation. You are welcome to take these words in the manner most appropriate to you. They read thusly: though imaged and named variously, there is a singular and eternal ground of being from which all life emanates and into which all life retreats. We choose to call this ground of being God. By extension, we come to understand that we are spiritual in nature, human in expression, and limitless in potential. We gather today to remember such truths, to celebrate our unity, and to honor all life. And if we do that, our time together will have been well spent. But we have more for you nonetheless. I'm so happy to see you. In the third and final installment of a series drawn from Singer's New York Times best-selling work entitled The Untethered Soul, will you welcome Unity in Lynnwood's Associate Minister? Her name is Reverend Nina Clark.
And for our next number, good morning. Wow. I should turn around in my chair more often. Wow. Good morning. This is delightful. Can I just stand here for a minute and just be delighted? Oh my gosh. Wow. Did you guys remember Romper Room? I'm dating myself, I know. She'd look through the mirror, it's like, but you don't have to do that today because everybody's right here. So anyway, I wanted to first say that often there's this synchronicity that happens between Richard and Matthew and I. We don't talk about the talk. We're never told, what to pray or even what the talk is about, or they don't discuss music. I just want you to know that the song that Matthew sang this morning is absolutely perfect for the talk today, as you will discover. So I accidentally hit the forward button, and it kept going. So okay. So a long, long time ago, once upon a time, and there was an enormous field, and this field was beautiful beyond comparison, and a light fell on this field from the sun, and it fell on all things in equal measure, and it was so beautiful that you decided that you wanted to live there, so you bought the land and decided to build a house of your dreams, and you began designing this house. And you started with a strong foundation because you wanted the house to endure, and you wanted to make sure there wouldn't be any leaks or issues in the foundation later on. And of course, you wanted the house to be ecologically sound because you're that kind of person. And so you made it very energy efficient. It only had a few windows. And even those few windows had shutters that would reflect the sunlight, the heat from the sunlight back out. And you could also lock them down so that you could be secure in your home. And you designed it to be large enough that you could store enough supplies so that you could be self-sufficient. And you even built separate quarters for a housekeeper, a quiet housekeeper so that you could devote your time to your creative work and be left alone. And this beautiful sanctuary had no phones, no radios, no television, no internet. It was designed to be a beautiful home, peaceful and filled with solitude so that you could do your work. And in the beginning, as you worked on the house, you would stop and enjoy the open beauty of the field and the glorious light. But as time went on, the house drew more and more and more of your attention, and you put your heart and soul into every aspect of its design, into every room, into all the details, the artwork on the walls, and until you felt that it was really and truly you. And as you became more and more enamored with your beautiful home, you spent more and more time inside, focused on this detail and that paint color. And as you spent this increased amount of time inside, you started becoming more uncomfortable whenever you were outside, because there would be some strange rustling noises that you couldn't identify and movement out of the corner of your eye that when you turn your head, you wouldn't see anything. And so it started to make you more uncomfortable. And so you spent even more time inside, and you started locking those security shutters and locking that door. After all, you were kind of isolated out there in the country in the middle of this beautiful field. So in this way, you gradually became accustomed to living indoors all the time. But you were happy. There was plenty of light inside, thanks to the modern full-spectrum lighting system that you had installed. And you had plenty of time to write and create, and your housekeeper kept the house clean, and she cooked all your favorite meals. And before long, inside felt so comfortable and predictable and safe and familiar that the very memory of that enormous sunlit field faded from your mind. And before long, you forgot it altogether. And so, all was hunky-dory until the day the light bulb started to burn out. And it was the only thing that you'd forgotten to stock, because when you built the house, you didn't know you were going to forget about outside. So for a while, you used candles, but they kind of mostly left you in shadow and darkness when you found yourself feeling increasingly lonely and scared and uncomfortable. And you couldn't do the things that you had enjoyed because of the lack of light. And then one day, the housekeeper called you down into the storage cellar, and there you found her surrounded by light because she'd found this huge supply of flashlights that were powered by shaking them or squeezing them. Oh, such joy. Finding the source of light felt like a true turning point in your life, for it seemed to touch some dim memory deep in the recesses of your mind. Together, you and your housekeeper set flashlights up in every room of the house until the entire house was full of flashlight light. And as you and the housekeeper worked together, you fell in love, and you married, and you vowed to bring love and light into your home. And now that there was enough light, you could see well enough to read again, and one day you stumbled across a book in your library, and you blew the dust off of it and began to read. And this book, it talked about the natural radiant light that exists outside. This book described more light than you could imagine, and no one had to do anything to create it. No flashlights, no candles, no modern full-spectrum lighting system. Remember, you'd been living in the house so long, you'd forgotten about the open field filled with sunlight that seemed so unbelievable. After all, in your current situation, any light that you experienced was limited to what you yourself could create. And as you continued to read this seemingly mystical book, it described what it was like to actually walk around in this natural light. It described a self-luminous, omnipresent light that shines everywhere, all at once. It was a light that fell on everything, constantly, and evenly. And even though this was something that you couldn't even conceive of, all that open space, all that freedom, all that light, overwhelming, it touched something deep inside of you. And then, to your amazement, the book said that you too could go outside. You could go beyond the walls of the world you had created for yourself. It said that as long as you are attached and enamored with the world that you've created inside of you, as long as you feel that that little bit of light that you could create on your own was sufficient, you will never know the abundance of natural light that is beyond the confines of your house. Nervous, but more than a little curious, you put the book down and walked around the walls of your house, wondering how you might find this light that the book wrote about. And for some reason, long forgotten by you, every time you approached certain walls, you found yourself afraid. And quickly, you shrank back into your study and decided that dusting your bookshelves would be just the thing to do. This is a modified version of the analogy that Michael Singer uses to describe our predicament. In his words, this is the visual. You are inside a house, totally sealed off from natural light, and the house is sitting in the middle of an open field full of brilliant light. But what is your house made of? It is made of your thoughts and emotions. It is all of your past experiences, all the concepts, views, opinions, beliefs, hopes, and dreams that you have collected around yourself. And you hold them in place on all sides, including above and below you. You have pulled together in your mind a specific set of thoughts and emotions, and then you have woven them together into a conceptual world in which you live. This mental structure completely blocks you from whatever natural light is on the outside of its walls, and you are so entranced with paying attention to those thoughts and emotions that you never go beyond the borders they create. We have built a self-concept, moved inside, and now we defend that home with all that we have. And those thought walls are so thick that they feel real to us. And we avoid running into them because the closer we get to them, the more fearful we become. And this fear triggers an urge to react, to pull back, to defend, to protect. We want to stay in our comfort zone. And the closer we get to our edges, the more uneasy and fearful we become. And we don't want anything to make us uncomfortable. And we've come to believe that we are this structure that we've built, but we're not. We are the ones who built it. We can assemble the most amazing self-concepts, decorate our walls with all sorts of memories of our past experiences and dreams of the future. We may build the most amazing house ever seen, but it's not us. We are the ones who built it. And what's more, if we were, you know those toaster cozies? You know, that they're quilted and you put them over the toaster. So if we were able to take our fingers and pinch our fingers together and lift the house in our analogy up off of its framework, like that toaster cover, what we would see would be the bars of a cage. We think we've built a house, but in actuality, we have built a prison. These walls are the boundaries of our awareness, and because we're not willing to approach them, to move through and beyond them, we cannot see the field right outside that's full of light. These walls, these bars, are the prison that we've built inside of ourselves. It's what keeps us inside of our self-created prison. In a nutshell, fear. Think about Think about something that makes your knees tremble when you think about doing it. Perhaps having a particular conversation with a particular someone. Maybe public speaking. Maybe doing a stand-up comic routine at a local nightclub. Maybe riding a horse or learning to swim. Maybe singing and playing the guitar on a street corner for tips. Maybe taking a hot air balloon ride or asking that cute person that works at that store, bank, coffee shop that you've been frequenting out on a date. Whatever it is for you, can you feel that fear? That's one of your walls. So how do we get free? As I mentioned last week, the only way out is through. This reminds me of some horses that I used to take care of who were fenced in by a single strand of hot wire, electric fencing. They learned to stay within the boundary because after being shocked a few times, they decided that was a better idea and that the delectable grass on the other side wasn't nearly as interesting as not being shocked. And so they stayed on the inside of that thin wire, safe and unshocked within their little paddock. But there was one horse for whom that delectable greenery on the other side of that wire pulled harder than his desire to remain comfortable. And so he leaned on the wire, getting shocked all the while, and we could hear it, pop, pop, pop. And he leaned on the wire, pop, pop, pop. And he leaned on the wire until it broke. And he was free. And all that grass was his. So just like that horse, we too can get free if we're willing to withstand some discomfort. The shock from the wire didn't hurt the horse. It was just uncomfortable. And the same is true for us. Feeling our fears, our insecurities, our self-consciousness, our vulnerabilities, our embarrassment, our jealousy, it won't hurt us, but it makes us feel uncomfortable. Since the horse was willing to bear the discomfort, his wall broke, and he was free to move beyond the artificial edge into greater space. And the same holds true for us. We need to face the fear that keeps us trapped behind the bars of our cages. And when we do so, we pass through that part of us that was afraid, and then it really is over. It works just like the Bene Gesserit litany from the sci-fi novel Dune that I mentioned in the first of these series. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And the I in this litany is the conscious awareness that we are. This litany reminds the one who says it that I or we are not our fear. I am the one having the experience of fear. I allow the fear to pass, and I remain. It will pass, and I get to the other side, and the other side is freedom. Now, life will also bring us experiences. Anyone? That will help us to get free. It brings experiences that bump into our walls and provoke a defensive response, which alerts us to the wall if we're willing to look at it that way. Thich Nhat Hanh tells a story that illustrates this. A monk decides that he would like to meditate alone, away from the monastery. So he takes a boat and goes to the middle of a lake, closes his eyes, and begins to meditate. After a few hours of unperturbed silence, he suddenly feels the blow of another boat hitting his. With his eyes still closed, he can feel the anger rising. And when he opens his eyes, he is ready to shout at the boatman who dared disturb his meditation. But when he opened his eyes, he saw that it was an empty boat that was not tied up, floating in the middle of the lake. And at that moment, the monk achieved self-realization, and he understood that anger is within him. It simply needs an external object to provoke it. And after that, whenever he meets someone who irritates or provokes his anger, he remembers the other person is just an empty boat. The anger is within, part of those walls. When something in the outer world bumps or crashes into one of our beliefs or threatens our self-concept, we can feel a defensive response rise up in ourselves. We feel our hearts close or our stomachs tighten, a sign that we are closing our third or fourth chakras, and we prepare to defend ourselves. But we're not really defending ourselves. We, as the indwelling awareness, we're just fine. What we're defending is our walls. And our walls are just made of thoughts, of beliefs. We actually use the brilliance of our minds to stay inside our self-created edges. So back to the house analogy. Just as the mystical book told the occupant of the house of that story that they could step out of their self-made artificial world into the beauty of the natural light of the open field, we too can step out of our self-created house of thoughts and into the vast expanse of the unlimited. True freedom lies just on the other side of our walls. We need to focus on the walls of our own making, and we're very creative, that are blocking the light. The way out is by letting everyday life inform us as to where our walls are, and learning to stay in our seat of awareness, in the place of observer, as presence, and allow the walls to dissolve. Singer writes, imagine your house of thoughts standing in the middle of an ocean of light from 1 trillion stars. Imagine your awareness trapped inside the darkness of that house, struggling daily to live off the artificial light of your limited experiences. Now, imagine the walls crumbling down and the effortless release of consciousness expanding into the brilliance of what is and always was. Your true growth begins when you make a commitment to go beyond your walls, no matter what it takes. It's an infinite journey based upon going beyond yourself every day for the rest of your life. If you're truly going beyond, you are always at your limits. You're never back in the comfort zone. It won't take long before you realize that it can't actually hurt you to go beyond your walls. It will be uncomfortable and maybe even briefly painful, but it won't hurt you. If you are willing to stand at the edge, just like that horse, and keep walking, you will go beyond. Just relax, open your heart, and keep going through the discomfort. That's all it takes. Handle what's happening now, but while staying in presence with an open heart. And as difficult as that may sound, what's the benefit of not doing it? Not practicing means staying trapped in the cage of our own design, cut off from that powerful flow of spiritual energy. Eventually, you'll walk through every moment of your daily life with the flow of this inner force sustaining you, feeding you, and guiding you from deep within. You'll still have thoughts, emotions, and a self-concept floating around in inner space, but they will be just one small part of what you experience. You will not identify with anything outside the sense of self. And as all worthwhile hero or heroine journeys, this work takes courage and work. Practice being presence. Practice sitting in the seat of your consciousness so that you become more and more clear about who you are and what you are not. Practice meditation, which strengthens your center of consciousness so that you're increasingly aware enough to not allow your heart to close. You remain open by simply letting go and practicing releasing and the tendency to close. We can't control the tides of life, but we can control how we meet them. And we can also choose how we meet these times that we are in now. We can stay comfortable in our cages, or we can set ourselves free. I'd like to close with a quote by Michael Brown, author of The Presence Process. He says, "First, we serve ourselves by restoring present moment awareness. Then we serve our family by seeing them as perfect, whole, and required to be just as they are, and a blessing to our every step. Then we serve our community by walking wide awake through it without judgment and concern. And then we serve our city by holding a vision of liberation for all from the fog of time. And then we serve our planet by standing at the center of our experience and allowing Source to be as present as possible within each breath. Then, as authentically as we are able to, we look out across the unified field and smile at the stars and the moon and the sun. For the greatest service of all we may render on earth is to stand awake and state in silent certainty, I am here, now, in this, awake and alive. I am a human being, and yet so much more. I am vibration, fully present and conscious within matter. Through our shared presence, I look upon you with love, and therefore with recognition. I am here to remember you as me, and me as you. Let us awaken together from the spell of time and sing the song called Life Eternal, now and forever. Will you join me in a time of meditation? I invite you to go ahead and settle in and make yourselves comfortable, and maybe take a deep breath. Take a deep breath all the way down, deep into your abdomen, knowing that when you breathe deeply like that, it lets your body know all is well. All is well. And another deep breath. And allow your conscious awareness to settle in back of your eyes. And know yourself as the one who sees. Know yourself as the one who hears. Know yourself as the one who is having this physical experience. Know yourself as the one who has constructed walls and boundaries to keep yourself safe, you thought. Allow yourself to experience yourself as that which is back of, and allow yourself to know the difference between you and your thoughts, you and your beliefs, you and your feelings, you and the sensations in your body, you and the sounds in the room. And as you get a feel for that, know that that self you're experiencing is an emanation of this one life, this one power, this one presence. You are it at the point that it is showing up in the space that is you, in the space that your consciousness is occupying right now. You are part and parcel of that one presence. You are part and parcel of that one power. Let us just sit together as presence and know ourselves. And as we sit knowing ourselves, let this open our hearts. Allow yourself to have that felt experience of spiritual energy running, flowing through your system. Open your heart. Open yourself to the full experience of life with a capital L. This is who you are. And the more and more that we open ourselves to this flow of energy, to this flow of life, to this flow of presence, we become more and more safe, more and more full, more and more powerful, more and more capable of expressing as our full selves our full potential. Notice how powerful and peaceful it is to have an open heart. And this is who you are. The allness includes you. You cannot be separate. The allness includes me. I cannot be separate. And so it is.
Thanks for a great 3 weeks, Reverend Nina Clark. Thank you for that. I'd like to share with you a grand mystical secret of church life. Take a deep breath. It may shock you. It may unseat you. When you make a financial contribution to this organization, we use it to pay bills. There it is. Thank you. That's the nuts and bolts of it. And yet we in Unity have teachings around the reciprocal, fluid nature of the universe in which we live. In other words, we have teachings around the dynamic of giving and receiving. And so I'd like to offer you one such teaching today. This is a teaching. We appreciate it when your teaching is applied here, but it's not limited to here. This is a teaching you can apply when you are buying ho-hos at Fred Meyer, when you are shoe shopping at the outlet. It's all the same. Today's teaching is this: understand your giving as an investment. As an investment. It goes on to say your spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment deserve your investment as that spiritual foundation valuable beyond measure. Your spiritual growth and development deserve your investment.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so that we rest in God and say
So find another eyeball, please, and say thank you for the gift of unity in Lynnwood. Do that now. Thank you for the gift of unity in Lynnwood. Thank you for the gift of unity in Lynnwood. If you are new to unity in Lynnwood, if you are newer to unity in Lynnwood, there are cards in the chair back before you. Please avail yourself to them. Also, there is a daily word gift for you in Unity in Lynnwood's gift shop. It is a small pamphlet of daily inspirations. Simply drop in, identify yourself as a newcomer, and say, "Give me my book." Please. Thank you for that reminder. Invitations. Unity in Lynnwood has a dynamic and active small group ministry. The social group offers something called Wandering Whitby. During this event, you will wander Whitby. It's scheduled for the 21st day of May. It's a Saturday, leaving this parking lot at 10 o'clock in the morning. A visit to the Price Sculpture Garden, lunch on the island, and a return over the majestic Deception Pass are yours simply for registering. Space is available on one of the church shuttles on a first-come basis. The men's group, Daniel and Tim and John, will now raise their hands that you might ask them any questions you have about an event entitled Pray, Work, Pray, Eat. And I do believe it's in that order, am I right? This has been scheduled for the 4th day of June. Yet again, a Saturday. They will gather at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's been written, build community through a shared group project. The project is yet a surprise. But build community through a shared group project. Aren't you curious already? You might not sleep tonight. Spiritual communion before firing up the grill for a barbecue lunch. It's been written to bring your own lawn chair, work gloves, and an open heart. Please consider staying today for the second informal town hall conversation with your Board of Trustees. We want you to know that your Board of Trustees will be clear about the quality of interaction we have and about the expectations of how we engage each other. This will be a safe, productive, positive, and healthy 1-hour gathering. And all are welcome. Attendees, members. Adopt a Street. We seek a few more people to assist us in fulfilling our organizational responsibility to Snohomish County. This organization is responsible for the periodic cleanup of a section of Alderwood Mall Parkway. The county provides all of our grabbers, all of our bags, one of those spiffy orange vests. If you have wanted to wear one of those orange vests, this is your golden opportunity. There's not even a charge for the vest. Far out. The date is the 28th of May. We will gather here at 10 o'clock a.m. God versus gay. I'd like to start by saying there is no God versus gay. That's the point of the book. Now, thank you. Yeah, that's worthy of applause. It is a book study. I will host this on Wednesdays starting June 1st. It's been written. The myth that the Bible condemns non-hetero individuals stands behind some of the most painful and destructive dynamics of today's world. Join us during this month of Pride in emancipating ourselves as we de-weaponize this collection of writings. Dr. Richard Loren Held facilitates. I hear good things. I don't know. It is a 6-week gathering. If you have the first name of any soul, if you have a situation that you would like to include in something we call closing prayer, I'd like you to simply speak that word or that first name aloud. We won't draw attention to you. It will simply be something that emerges into our air? Is there a name you would like included in our closing prayer today? A situation, a place, a geography, a condition. Simply speak it, please. Would you like to know something I don't share very often? Say yes, please.
Yes, please.
I believe in angels. I believe we are not alone. I believe we are in deep connection, communion, communication, and collaboration with each other, both the other that is enfleshed and the other that has relinquished that enfleshment. That's what I believe. So as we hold these names, these geographies, these situations in our hearts, let us entertain the possibility that we are summoning powerful allegiance. If you haven't done so already, close the outer eyes. Holding that which has been spoken central, holding even that which was spoken only with the heart central. Let us entertain the possibility, the noble suggestion, the audacious claim that the God of our understanding is present. Let's start there. The God of our understanding is present. The potential for something divine is at hand. Longing to be revealed, to be unfolded, awaiting only a human willingness, born of even the slightest faith. The wisdom waits for us. The consciousness waits for us. The possibility waits for us. The sufficiency waits for us. The love waits for us. Always the life that stands behind all expressed form. It awaits our recognition. The God of our understanding is at hand. In our willingness to entertain this suggestion, then, perhaps our hearts give rise to something of a gratitude response. Perhaps we find ourselves experiencing even a modicum of new peace. As we find ourselves and our loved ones surrounded by the songs of the angels. We come into a place of new breath. The God of our understanding is at hand. to the very energy of this, to the very creative impetus of this position. To this, we can say, and so it is, knowing that we have initiated something good. Said in the language of those who have come before, it can also be said, Amen, and Amen, and Amen. And we close our holy time together, as we always do, with sung words of blessing, with sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure